badass.
It is a rockin' tune.
Oh, I like when it gets towards the ending. Like,
oh, not just a little snippet of it, and that was just all for fun.
oh, and this is all you?
That is all me, and then it's just some pre-programmed drums because I got like a little drum plugin is what it's called for my drum recording software. So then I just pick the drum beat I want and then put it on there. So I originally made that as just a way to practice my mixing and recording process.
That's
so
cool,
that was just
man.
all for fun.
Wow. All right, welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick. And that intro music there was created by Sengine over here. This is Sengine, that the episode's name's Guitar Hero because I see your videos. I have alert set on YouTube, and I see your stuff on Instagram. Like it comes across my page all the time now, ever since I started following you. And man, like, what's up? Like that's awesome.
Well, I'm just working hard and just pushing out the music and content. Kind of has been one of my New Year's resolutions this year, is kind of to push out my content more and try to kind of get out there a little bit more and see what kind of happens. You never know what's going to take off. That's the thing. So unless you're putting the content out there, it's hard to say. And it's completely different music world now, because back in the day, you'd be in a band making albums and all this stuff, but you have this social media and you have to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
And the more content you can put out there, the better, because you can get so many people seeing stuff in a quick matter of time. Because even in the last 3 weeks, I've probably pushed out almost like 10,000 views on YouTube.
Good for you.
And I was just consistently posting.
Yep. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube now?
It is almost I think 59 actually. It's super low. It's the one thing I've just been trying to grow a little bit more, but it's just tricky to get people to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, YouTube is a hard nut to crack. I know I'm at almost 600, and it's taken a long time to get there, right? I had one video that I posted. I went from 400 to like 550 on one video overnight, right? It was I had like 140,000 views on it. Whew. And yeah, it jumped, and I just threw it out there randomly. What time do you find the best time to post on YouTube?
It's hit and miss depending on the day. Some days I'll post something like, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll grab the algorithm and do really good. The next day I'll do the same thing and it'll get next to no views.
Yeah.
And it's really tricky.
Yeah, it's so that video I threw up at 11 o'clock at night. It was just a throwaway. It was just like, fuck it, throwaway. I don't even care.
Right.
Boom. I got up in the middle of the night. I can't remember. I think maybe getting a drink or something. And I looked and I was half asleep and it showed like 110,000 views on it. I'm like, no way. That's a dream, right? So I went back to sleep, and then I woke up a couple hours later for work, and I looked. It was like 140K, and I'm like, oh, damn. Damn, okay. So I try that a little bit, right? Before I go to bed, I just throw a video up just to see how it does, just to see if I can recreate that.
Mm-hmm.
And nighttime ones, man, like they do fairly well. People are scrolling, at night, in the middle of the night. Yeah,
that's why I try like the 7 o'clock route. That's the after supper. Everyone's just kind of getting to that point. They're chilling on the couch. That's when I kind of the times, and sometimes they'll grab that algorithm for a good hour. But then I've had videos that it's like a couple days or a week, and then next thing you know, we'll start taking off with views.
Yeah, and I find that same thing on TikTok. After the after dinner crowd, I go for like 6:30, 7 o'clock post, right? I try to post 3 times a day on there, no earlier than 11 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And some of my stuff, like if I know I'm going to be at a service all day, a lot of my crowd, blue collar workers, right? Like I'll throw it up at like 6 in the morning if I know I won't be able to post for the day. And I come back and it's generally done pretty good, but I try to stay within that 6 in the morning area.
I've even found that myself just a few times, even before going to work, just posting one up at 6 in the morning, like you said, and then checking the views. And it's like, holy crap, it's actually doing pretty good.
Nice. What do you do for, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, even like one of the videos I had on YouTube that did like the best was my Crazy Train guitar solo cover. And that was probably on YouTube for a good few years. And it sat around like 45 views or something like that. And then one day I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's at 4,000 views. Oh, 5,000 views, 6,000 views. Like, holy crap. And it just grabbed a
Wow.
random algorithm.
So, what do you do for work outside of the guitar scene? I don't know. Are you in a band? I don't. We'll get into that. But like, what do you
Oh,
do
yeah.
for work?
I'm an electrician, journeyman electrician.
Good for you, man. So
So,
you're making that you. So you probably discovered, like, hey, my hobby, my passion is a little expensive,
mhm.
right? So I need to get into something that can pay for that. Good for you for realizing
That was
that.
kind of the smart thinking behind that one. Been doing
Yeah.
it for 12 years now.
Good for you, man. And obviously it's working out. I you have how many different guitars?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 electric guitars,
Wow.
one bass, and a nice acoustic as well.
What is your baby?
That would be my first guitar, my Ibanez Talman.
Where is it? You got to
That one
show
is
us.
downstairs, but
Okay.
I don't know if it'll show up, but I even got it tattooed onto me.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. That's crazy. That's
Even if
awesome.
you go onto my YouTube channel, you can find one of the little review I did of it and a little playthrough of it.
And how
So
old is that guitar?
what's that?
How old is that guitar?
I think it was made in 1995.
Wow.
So that was my first guitar I got when I was like 9 years old.
Wow.
And I kind of started everything because everybody always got like the guitars you'd see in the Sears catalog. So they always got like those beginner guitars. And I show up with this guitar that's a little bit different shape and it's red. And everyone's like, oh, that's a cool guitar.
What's a
And then it
guitar
just clicked with
cost?
me.
What's a guitar cost?
They range in prices. You can get like entry level ones for a few $100. You got your anywhere from 500 to 1,000 to $10,000 for like a Gibson Les Paul custom.
Do you have one of those?
No, sadly, no. I do have a Gibson Les Paul, but just a Gibson Les Paul Studio.
All right. So are you saving up for one? You got to save up for something big, right? You got to treat yourself.
One of these days, for sure. It's hard to find the one that I really like. I
Okay.
spent a good chunk of time trying to find the right Les Paul, and then I found one on the Facebook Marketplace of all places, and it was a good deal. And I went and held it, and I was like, "Yep, here's my money. Take it."
Easy decision, right?
Oh, it was like because I played one that was $8,000 the one time, and I absolutely hated it.
Wow.
So it doesn't
So
matter how
let's
expensive
yeah.
it is; it's how it feels.
Yeah.
Because they even have like
100%.
an Epiphone Les Paul, and I've got that at a pawn shop for $250, and it's one of my main guitars when I play shows.
Nice. So you're in a band, eh? You're in a band?
Yeah, so I was in a band, and we was just not kind of working out. So me and a couple other guys left, and we were starting a new project that's currently on the go, and we're just keeping things a little hush hush for a little bit till we're all ready because we're
All right.
looking for a singer. So, and
All
we're
right.
doing a little audition here on the weekend. So hopefully that goes good because the sooner we get a singer, the sooner we can start playing more shows.
What kind
And I
of
love
so
getting on stage.
are you like rock music obviously?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. So I
So,
had a buddy on here. I had a buddy on here last episode or an episode, 2 episodes ago, I guess, and it hasn't come out yet. But I went to school with him back in the day, and he's in a band, and he's a bassist, and he just a solid dude. You know what I mean? And he's in a band called April. So
nice.
so yeah, and they're out in Ontario, and same thing. They were looking for a singer, and they got their singer, and so. Hey, good luck to you. You said you have a couple auditions coming up?
We'll just got one coming up here this weekend. Kind of one guy that kind of piques our interest, and the videos he sent us was like, all right, he can kind of sing here, so let's try him out. We got to vibe with him too, because you can be an amazing singer, but if we don't vibe with you, it's not going
Yeah.
to work out either.
Yeah. You gotta form a brotherhood. And so how do you know? Okay, he's an amazing singer. Okay, cool. How long do you give it? How long do you give that grace period for vibing? You know what I mean? Like what is the honeymoon phase? I guess you would call it. What's the amount of time on that?
It's gonna be the first jam. It's gonna be like that initial meeting and just that first few songs, and you'll know right away because especially like members of the band that like me, myself, the drummer, and the bass player, we are all experienced musicians, so we know right away if we click and vibe.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty easy. You guys kind of instantly know as an experienced musician. It's like, all right, I can vibe with this guy. I can jam with him. And I've had some pretty fun jams all over the place.
That's crazy, man. It's kind of like speed dating, right? You're just like, okay, so what if he doesn't bring his A game, but he is like off or sick or whatever, and you know what I mean? And you know, it's like, nah, that's good. But then you know, like a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, man, I'm feeling much better. You know, I'm feeling it. You know what? Like, give me another shot. Would that could that happen?
And that could definitely happen too. It's just like, we'll, especially he's kind of more of an experience and stuff. This would be kind of be like his first band and everything. So we're going to have to kind of coach him through some of this stuff. So if he comes in and he's nervous, we're going to read into that and see that. So if he's not on his A game, but we can see that there's potential there to work with, then that's a person we'll grab and mold and turn into a great frontman. Because you need that in
Hell
a
yeah,
band. You need that frontman,
yeah,
especially that
yeah.
person that gets the crowd going and engaging and everything. Because when you have an instrument in your hand, you're kind of focused on that. You're kind of paying attention to the crowd, but you're locked in with everything else and you're just playing. So having that
So
front person is awesome.
a frontman like Steven Tyler's a frontman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, because he's all over. He's like, you know, he's getting the crowd pumped.
Even like an Axl Rose is another one. You just watch him and he's running from side to side to stage in the back in the day videos, getting the crowd going. That's what you need. Even like certain songs, you got to get the crowd participation going. You need the singer to make those cues happen because we can't let go of our instruments and let that happen. We got to keep the song going.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's crazy. So yeah, the guy. I'm just trying to find out like, what goes into a band and stuff like that. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm,
I
absolutely.
know a lot of people that are in a band, and I've never asked these questions before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, hey, it looks like a lot of hard work, right? And it looks like, yeah, you know,
And it's a lot of time. Like you don't see that when you come to a show is the amount of hours they go into, say, learning that stuff. So say you come watch a cover band, they played 30 songs. That's 30 songs we had to learn and go through and then not only practice on our own time, but then be able to practice when you're in a band situation. Because it's
yeah,
one thing to play along to the song, but then you get to the band situation and one guy messes up and then it's just a train wreck. And that's
yeah,
where experienced musicians come into play is like, if it's going to be that train wreck is coming out of that. So that way the crowd doesn't even notice. You might have the
yeah,
one or two people that are like, that was kind of interesting, but then they saved it. You just don't even, because you can make mistakes and most people don't even realize it.
yeah. That's what. So this is gonna sound bad, but my wife was a big is a One Big Direction fan. My wife and my sister, and they follow them religiously. And you know, being around all that gooey, icky stuff, hard on the ear stuff. I like some of their music, but you know, you listen to them talk in interviews and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, we mess up all the time on stage, but nobody else really knows or catches it. We just look at each other and we're like, oh, and then they get back into it, and sometimes they have fun with it, right? They're just like, you fucked up, right? You know?
Right. You
Yeah,
especially make that eye contact. It's like, oh, you did it, and we're all kind of
yeah,
chuckling on stage when that happens. The worst time to make the mistake is when you're doing a guitar solo, because as a lead guitar player, that just always bugs a person at the end of the night. It's like I missed that one note. It's like,
yeah. So have you been in other bands?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I played with like so I've done like my solo stuff. I was just in a came out of another one other cover band. And then I've done some jamming with some other buddies and stuff, like doing some cabarets and stuff where I'd either come in, play guitar or bass, whatever's needed. Then I was also in an instrumental, experimental, psychedelic rock band in Saskatoon. And that was
nice.
after I graduated, and I was in that band for about 5 years. And that was a really fun experience. Got to play a lot of shows there.
So it's Saskatoon. I used to live in Saskatoon. I lived
Oh, nice.
east, no, not, west side by Confed Mall,
Mm.
and I lived in Alphabet City on Avenue G for a while. And so, like, what kind of bars did you play in Saskatoon?
We would have played at like Lydia's back in the day when that was still a thing. Amigos. It was what was the other one? It's where Black Cat Tavern is now.
I live in
Oh,
Calgary. Sorry.
Vangelis was the name of it.
How? What
Then
about
there,
what about Riley's? Did you ever play at Riley's? You know what Riley's is? Remember Riley's? It
yeah, I
was
remember Riley's.
yeah,
Went to a couple shows there, but nope, never got the chance to play there. I did play, what is it called? The Coors Light Center, though.
Stan's Place. Did you ever play at Stan's Place?
Nope, can't say I played there. Kind of more like some of like the live beat, like the Capitol. I played at the Capitol.
Okay, okay.
That was a fun one.
One of my former bosses is in a band in around Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Jet Run.
Hmm.
I don't know if, yeah, they, I think they play cover band. They're a cover band too. Also One Bad Son, you know, One Bad Son,
Oh, of course.
obviously. One Bad Son, when I lived in Saskatoon, they were, I don't know how big they are now. I don't know what they're doing, but One Bad Son was, you know, fairly big. And I was looking for a place to live there one time. My wife and I applied for this basement suite. It was the lead singer, I think. It
Mhm.
was his house. It was his basement that would be renting out. And we
Oh,
talked to his
nice.
girlfriend. Yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty neat,
That would be a
actually.
fun experience. I'd be in a heyday right there.
Yeah, no, that was. I don't know if it would be fun or not because you know they probably jamming out all the time, probably playing guitar upstairs or whatnot. But yeah,
That's
that
right up
it
my
probably
alley.
would be interesting. Yeah, no, exactly. You'd probably be up there all the time jamming out with them, right? So yeah.
Helping him write some songs now.
So do you guys have your own music, like, or just a
uh
cover?
just covers right now, and then kind of as we get going, I definitely want to do originals. Like that's something I really kind of missing because I've been doing like the cover bands for quite a while, and writing
Yeah,
original music with other band members would be super fun because it's one thing when I'm writing them on my own, I'm a kind of my own worst critic. So I'll
yeah.
constantly be working on a song and working on a song and reworking it and recording it and not liking it. And it's just been working on my second album for so many years now because I just be like record a bunch of songs and be like, don't like those. Okay, record another bunch. Don't like those. Record another bunch. It's like, oh, it's never ending.
Nice. Do you so as the cover band, do you guys like tour around still? Do you like tour around? You said you're in Regina, right? So like
Yeah.
do you tour around Regina and play little shows?
Oh, like the band was in just before we did a few cabarets and some stuff at the Revival in Regina, which was a fun time too. So just
Nice.
did a few shows there because like kind of once we were ready for shows, the pandemic hit and everything.
Ah, yeah, that
So
messed
then
up a
that
lot of
kind of put a
things.
kibosh onto a lot of that for a few years, and that made things extremely difficult. And that definitely hurt the live music scene because we were just primed and ready, and it was going to be like we were really tight, and it would have been some good live shows. But yeah, kind of sucks,
Oh man,
especially being a musician.
you hear that a lot, especially with. I remember I told you my buddy there from the band April back home.
Mhm.
He had all these plans as well, and pandemic hit right as soon as they were about to get going, right? And my cousin, he's a rapper, and in Ontario, and my wife. Did I say my cousin?
Yes.
My wife's cousin. He's a rapper in Ontario, and he was set to go. I think he was supposed to go on tour with Drake or something like that. You
Oh,
know, yeah, no, he's really
that's a huge
he's
tour.
right. He's got a lot of good music out. Like it's on his name's Bray. It's on you can find on Spotify and Apple and stuff like that. And like good music. You know what I mean? Like no, I'm not just saying that because I know the guy. Like I'm saying that like when if I was a stranger and I was listening to this music, that'd be something I'd be into, right? And just yeah, supposed to. I think he went to Drake's birthday party or something like that, and
Holy.
then they were supposed to go out on tour together, and pandemic hit just before the tour started, so it was kind of
Oh,
like, ooh, yeah,
you got to be doing something good to be invited to come on a tour like that.
yeah, no kidding, man,
Like
and you
you're doing
know,
something right.
so it was kind of interesting to kind of watch how he went about it. So he was into the rap scene, the rap music. He could write, he could rap, sing. I don't know what you want to call it, rap or sing, but his mom uh didn't approve of it, and he was going to school to get a law degree, right? I'm pretty sure it was law, political science. I think it was law. Anyway, so his mom got really sick, and so it was kind of like, hey, you know what, like yeah, I'm gonna do what my mom wants, right? And then his mom sadly passed away, and then he was like, hey, you know what, like this is my time. You know what I mean? Like she didn't approve of this, so you know I'm gonna do something for me. And he pursued that and blew up, right? And it was like,
Awesome.
damn, good for you, man. Like, looking back, it's like, man, if your mom could see you now, like,
Oh, she'd be so proud, so
oh,
proud.
so proud, man. It'd be
Like it takes a lot to break through into the music industry nowadays. There's so much competition out there,
yeah. And
and that makes it difficult.
yeah, we were talking about that a few weeks back, actually. Not just with music, but with content. I'm a content creator on
Yep.
Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all that. And like, the internet's a noisy world to break through and get your stuff heard, no matter what you're doing, right? Your
Hmm.
music, it's just a noisy world. So if you can break through it and get your stuff seen and heard, good for you. There's a lot there, right?
Oh yeah,
And so yeah, and
and
it's a
especially if you
grind.
start building like an audience and getting reoccurring people who are liking and following your stuff, that's a good thing because then you start seeing that more. That means, hey, you got repeated viewers, and that's a good sign. You're doing something right. You got to start off small, a few hundred views, and turn those few hundred views into a few hundred more, and then so on.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's all about, and word of mouth helps too, right?
Hmm.
And stuff like what we're doing here, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're a small guy, small artist, I guess.
Yeah, I'd
And
say artist, little social media guitar player, dang near almost.
yeah, and hopefully, this sends some more viewership your way. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people out there that I've noticed that they like to jam. A lot of guys in camp, right, of
Oh,
the blue
insane.
collar crowd, right? They go up to go to a work camp. They bring their guitars with them, and they jam out with other guys in their rooms and stuff like that, or outside if it's nice out, right? So like, hopefully this helps expose you to a little bit more people, and I'm going to post it on Instagram and uh probably, yeah, YouTube. The video goes up on YouTube as well, and
Sweet.
the numbers and stuff like that on the podcast are pretty decent. Over 10 episodes that are out so far now. We're over 1,000 downloads, so like
That's
it's
good.
it's pretty good, man. You know what I mean? So we're there, the numbers are there, and hopefully, this is the whole point of the podcast, is to, like, find people with interesting stories that are doing cool things, right? And
Yep.
and have conversations with them, peel back the layers, and you know what, maybe slide a whole new audience towards them.
So true. That's exactly. I was super excited when you asked me to come on this because, like, hey, I've never done a podcast before, and this is a great way to grow an audience for everybody.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, the word of mouth thing again, right?
Hmm.
Angela from Backroad Truckers, she was episode 9, and she's like, "Hey, here's a guy you should check out. Maybe get him on your podcast." And then I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I looked and I watched, and I was like, "Man," and I waited, like, I think a week or so before I reached out to you, because I wanted to see, what? And you know what, like, your content's there. You're constantly posting. You're always in your face, right?
Right.
And then that's what you need to do, right? That's
And
exactly what you
that's
need to do.
persistence.
Yeah,
And sometimes,
exactly.
it can beat you down a little bit. I'm taking like creative breaks many times because sometimes I get petered out just almost like creating content and thinking of different ideas and being like, is it, people actually going to view this? So this kind of go around where I'm being a little more pushing out content. I'm starting to think more and more on different ideas and everything like that, and taking more pursuit on doing proper video edits and everything too, and actually recording stuff into a software program and then putting the audio or the video in and then syncing it all up, which is quite a fun process too. I've actually been really enjoying that a lot.
How much like memory does that require? Like, obviously you need a lot to remember, like, every song, every chord on the guitar is different, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, okay, oh, I'm doing this one, and then you just jam into it, right? You don't even second thought, okay, I'm playing this song, boom, right? Like, I always thought, when you think of a rock and roll band, right, a lot of the time, they're strung out on stage, right? It's just a part of that culture, I guess, or lifestyle, right?
Right.
And you just see them play, and they're just like, they just go right into it, and it's like, even when they're strung out, they can get right into it.
It's like ingrained into your DNA. Like you just don't even have to think about it. You just kind of grab the guitar and it's just like boom, boom, boom. And as long as everybody else is in sync, it's just like magic happens. And then once somebody goes off, then then it can be a bit of a train wreck. But it's all instinctive. It's even like keeping like the beat and the time. It's just like you just kind of think of the song and it's like, oh, there it is, and there's the time, and everybody's playing at the exact same time, and it's like this is fun.
That's awesome. So, like, are you okay? So this is a good thing about like you're growing up in a or growing up coming up in a good era for your band, right? Like where your upcoming band, where back in the day they didn't have cell phones or cameras or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
You could document literally going from like where you start your humble beginnings to like if you blow up one day and you're playing a world tour of in front of millions of people, right? Be like, hey, we started out as a small garage band, you know what I
Right.
mean? And we played here in front of like Johnny's little sister or Senjin's cousins, right? They watched, and then from the garage on Maple Street to Madison Square Garden in New York,
So
or the O2 in London. I think it's in London. I don't know.
I think it is. I can't remember it myself
I
either.
think it's in London. Yeah, no, and that's man. You gotta have a dream like that, right? Like you
Exactly.
dream one day of going from where you are now to like, hey, you know what? You're an electrician. You said,
Yep.
fuck this electrical work. You know what? You know what? That blue book,
That's so many days.
tear it up. You're going out on tour.
And that would be like the biggest dream is like we've even talked with the other members of the band is just fame and success is one thing, but like being able just to live comfortably and have a little bit of extra spending cash and do what you get to love to do.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about. And
yeah,
especially as being if you're a decent enough cover band or something like that or a decent enough band and people want to book you and stuff, if you're doing stuff every weekend like on a Friday night and a Saturday night and you're playing this wedding or this cabaret or this, if you're doing that consistently, you're making darn good money nowadays. Because especially after the pandemic, everybody wants the live music, the entertainment and stuff because they were stuck in, so they're willing to come out to check this stuff out now.
yep,
Whereas like
yep.
before that, like some of the shows you would go to and stuff, there'd be 20, 30 people there. Well, now you got 60, 70, 80, up to 100 people jam packing a little bar. All because they
Wow.
just want to get out and enjoy some live music again.
What's the last concert I seen? I don't remember, but I saw Pauly D from the Jersey Shore at Riley's once.
Hmm, that would be
Yeah.
quite
Oh,
interesting.
and I went to what was it? With Blink 182, Fall Out Boy, and Saving Abel. I'm pretty sure in Saskatoon at the Sastel place. I saw that. When was that? 2013. What year are we in right now? 2013. I'm pretty sure I saw them in
It's
Saskatoon.
2023. It's 10 years.
Yeah, and Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy played the after party. He was the DJ at the after party at
Oh,
Riley's, and I
geez.
was there to see it. It
That'd
was
be sweet.
crazy. Yeah, it
Oh, that'd be
was.
a fun time.
Man, it was great. My wife and I were not drinkers, so like when we're around that kind of stuff, it's like a little awkward. We're just like those kids at the school dance who are just kind of sitting in the seats over by the wall, right? It was cool to experience because DJ Pauly D, right? Fist bumping and it's t-shirt time. The Jersey Shore was huge back then, right?
Oh,
And
that was massive then.
yeah, and then Pete Wentz, of course, Fall Out Boy, and then we saw. I saw. My wife didn't go. I saw with a couple of buddies of mine. You know who Far East Movement is.
Hmm.
I won tickets to see Far East Movement at Riley's. I've actually seen them twice, but I've won the tickets to see them at Riley's. Yeah,
Sweet. That's awesome.
yeah. Far East Movement is actually pretty badass. I was like, so Far East Movement is they how do I say that? So I was at the front of the stage. I was out there, but like I was the only Caucasian person there, right? I was like having a good time at the front of the stage, surrounded by all Chinese people, all Asian people. I don't know how to say that without it sounding bad. I don't know how that sounds, but like it was all Asian people, right? And so like it was a good show. I think me and my three buddies were the only white people there. It was crazy, and Caucasian people. So like it was a good show. I loved it. They loved it. Everyone had a good time.
I haven't been to a show for a while. I think the last show I went to was a band from Regina called Into Eternity. And they used to tour quite a bit. Like they toured with like Megadeth and then like Stu Block, their singer, was in Iced Earth for quite some time till all that stuff happened in the States and everything when they stormed at that government building down there.
Oh, the Capitol building,
Yeah, because
January 6th. Yeah.
because the guitar player was like part of that, and that just raised a bunch of stuff there. So he ended up leaving the band and a bunch of other members. So it was quite crazy. So, but then he came
Wow.
back and was singing for the band that he was in before he did that. So which is pretty sweet to see. And that was an awesome show. It was packed at the Exchange.
Your singer was part of the January 6th riot there?
No. This is the
Oh.
singer in the Into Eternity band here in Regina.
Okay. Wow. Sorry, I misheard that. Huh, wow. I
You
got a
probably even
buddy.
seen the picture with him, like the guitar player, because he was like, fuck, I think it's CTV and all that used him. Because he was like the old, he kind of looked like an older guy, but he had like a big long gray beard or whatever. And I was the singer for like our guitar player for Iced Earth. I remember like seeing like the pictures on the news, and I'm like, that's John Schaefer from Iced Earth. What the heck's going on here?
That's crazy. How did you get into guitars and wanting to be in a band? Like, how did that start? How old were you, or young were you? And
So
what?
when I was
Yeah.
younger and we lived in Weyburn, they had like a music program. So when you hit like grade four, it was either you played guitar or the recorder. So obviously I'm going to pick the guitar. So started playing and it just clicked. It was just something I was good and right away really good at, and just kind of picked up on it, and then started taking, like, I had the music lessons at school, and then I started taking music lessons on the side. And I took those for 2.5 years before the teacher couldn't teach me anymore. Basically kind of told me, yeah, you're kind of on your own. You got to teach yourself now.
Wow, because you were that good, eh? Like
Yeah, I
you were
pretty
just
much
like,
surpassed everything he could teach me.
wow.
And at that point, I moved to a small town, and then moved to a small town, nothing to do. So then got really into guitar, and then the rest is history.
Shout out to Weyburn, home of the only all-you-can-eat KFC in Canada.
So fun fact with that, like when I used to was really young, there used to be a buffet there, and if you, I think it was, yeah, it was always on Mondays, and kids ate for 99 cents.
What?
The buffet for 99 cents.
At KFC?
Yeah, at the
So
KFC.
they still have that all-you-can-eat KFC
I've been
buffet
meaning to
there.
make a road trip out there to go
It's
get some of
18.
that.
It's $18 now. But so
Oh,
worth it.
but it's worth it, definitely.
Yeah, man. Like, I was there last summer. I do road construction in the summer, and I'm in Saskatchewan a lot when we're on the road. Last year we spent a good amount of time in my favorite booming metropolis of Meadow Lake. Yeah, it was good times. Meadow Lake. Then we were in Battleford, Saskatoon. We weren't in Regina last year, but we were the year before. And Weyburn. I remember the first time I went to Weyburn, it was the first summer of the pandemic. And I had heard about the all you can eat KFC, and I was pumped. I was like, yeah. I call them and like, we're closed because of the pandemic. Like, you son of a bitch. Right. So last summer
Oh,
when I heard we were going back to Weyburn, that's the first phone call I made. I called KFC. I'm like, I don't even like the Dirty Bird, all right? I called KFC and I'm like, hey, you guys open and your buffet open? They're like, yep, it's open and we're good to go. I heard that a few months prior to that phone call that I made, they decided to shut her down. They weren't going to do it anymore. And the town did a petition or a protest against it, and so KFC kept it. And cheers to them. Cheers to the good, hard-working folks of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, for keeping the all-you-can-eat KFC buffet open for Dick Frost to go eat there.
greatest place ever.
Oh man, and there's a candy store that I actually helped name in Weyburn. I don't know if I helped name it. She probably had that name picked out already. But Stranger Danger Candy Co. They opened up last summer. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I heard they're getting their own building now instead of the work trailer that they were in.
Hey,
Yeah.
whatever works.
Hey,
We gotta
man,
start
you do
somewhere.
exactly. So
Make me crave that
so
KFC buffet now.
So you move to the small town, and all you do is you just shred every day. You're just hitting the riffs. See, I'm learning the lingo. You're there. You're hitting the riffs. You're shredding the guitar, and then what? You just like, where to go from there? How old were you? And where did it?
Well, so that when I moved to the small town, I was 13. I was just turned 13 there, and then I spent a few years just learning lots of songs. And then, time I hit 16, I did a strict practice regimen of like every day was like 2 to 4 hours of playing, and one day was jazz music. Next day was classical, then music theory, and then more music theory, and then shred technique, and then I'd have like one day where I could just play whatever I want to play. So then I did that for years of just a strict practice regimen. So then the end result was just I could get into a jam with anybody, and it definitely, there's been situations where it was like super handy because then I went to Nicaragua and I did some jamming down there. I was able to get up on stage and play with all the local musicians because they could pop the sheet music in front of me or just tell me like, oh, this is 1 4 5 and B, watch for the turnaround. Okay.
Wow.
And then we'd just be able to do a jam and it'd just be like sound like we were practicing together for forever.
Huh. Nicaragua. You're not the first person to come on this podcast that has a connection with Nicaragua. Episode 8, Dougie Snakes. Go check him out, by the way, Sengine. You would love that guy.
Gonna have to for sure.
It depends on what your sense of humor is, but
I can handle a lot.
Dougie's the man. He told an interesting story about Nicaragua once, where he was on drugs. He's a recovered drug addict, and he was on some drugs. I'm not sure what it was. He said he was on, but he was in a hostel and he pissed on his hostel roommates, 2 German girls. And yeah, he woke up in the morning and didn't understand what was going on. But hey, that was episode 8, and hey, shout out to Nicaragua, you know.
Well, the problem now is there when you go there is the beer's so bloody cheap too. That ends up with a lot of problems too. That was a fun time. My liver took a pounding that week.
Oh man, did you stay in a hostel?
Well, I had a buddy that used to go down there and he would stay there over the winter, so he had like a house. So I just got to stay there, and then he left a few days early, and then I stayed in a hostel, and that was a fun time too.
Nice, that's awesome.
And the best part is when I went there, it was like -60 here in Saskatchewan. To go to +30, a 90-degree temperature difference was a freaking shock on the body when you got off the plane.
Oh yeah, I know. I worked in northern Manitoba a few years ago, and yeah, it was -50, -58 or something like that. And I took 2 weeks off from that. I was going to Florida, and yeah, we went to Florida, and Orlando is humid, but it's not that hot, right? It was still pretty warm. It was 15 degrees, and it was like cool. I just came from -60 pretty much, and I get there, and the pilot's like, it's a pretty chilly day here on the ground, folks. Just make sure you bundle up before you get off. It's +15 degrees Celsius for you Canadians. It's like, oh yeah, but keep telling me how cold it. Well, +15 in Orlando was a little chilly, right? It was, I was like, what's going on here? I put on a sweater. I wore a sweater and track pants almost the entire time I was there. And yeah, and so we went to Disney. We did that whole thing, but we spent a day in Miami. We got up in the morning. We drove the 4 hours, whatever it is, from Orlando to Miami. And I was in the car, heat cranked because it's early in the morning. And I had my hoodie and track pants on. We get to Miami. I open the car door, and the humidity and the heat literally knocked me back in the car. Like I had to change right then and there into shorts and t-shirt. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that's like almost like camping sometimes, like in the mountains. You wake up in the morning and you're cold, you got a bunny hug on and pants, and then the afternoon hits, it's like, where's the tank top and shorts?
Absolutely. Exactly.
Crazy temperature changes like that.
So how old were you when you went to Nicaragua?
I think I was 22 or 23, I think I was when I went to Nicaragua.
Wow. Okay.
That was fun.
So I'm trying to get back on that timeline here. So you're 16, you're just shredding the guitar, you're learning, you put yourself on that strict regiment. And so, when was it, how like everyone hits that moment where you got a choice to make, right? It's time to either, the children's game goes away, or you hit that crossroad and you're like, hey, I got to take this seriously. I got to go with it this way instead of putting the guitar down and preparing for life as an adult, right?
Mm-hmm. It was never like adoption of just like putting it down or whatever. It's always going to be, I got to balance both. So And I definitely was considering going to like a music school and everything like that, as any kind of musicians always thinks about. It's like, oh, I'm going to go study music. Well, I had a few older friends who had did that, and they went to Grant McEwen there in Edmonton. One guy ended up in the trades, another guy ended up in the trades, and one is teaching guitar at Long McQuaid. So it's like you kind of look at that, and it's like financially long term, is that going to do the right thing? No. So then I decided to go at least get my ticket and get like a trade at least. And it was supposed to be sort of a fallback, but still doing it.
Hey man, and you know what? Like you said earlier, you know what? You were smart about it because that trade is paid for this, right? It's not a hobby.
Exactly.
It's your job is the hobby, right? And this is your passion. This is what you want to do full time. You there?
What was awesome too with like yep, I'm here. What's awesome with the trades too is just like once you get that journeyman ticket, you never have to start down here. You always get to start up here as far as the wage. So you just know at least if I were to go like say, oh, I want to take a break from it, I'm gonna go try this out. If I want to come back to it, I don't have to start at the bottom, work back up. I'm already right up here. And it's like sweet. And then it can pay for more music gear.
And yeah, recording music is not cheap.
No, I kind of like lucked out with like my little setup that I kind of have going on because gotta love pawn shops for certain things. Because like
Yeah,
especially I got a good interface for my recording stuff, and that's good interface, good microphone, good computer, pretty much set. I've kind of like I got a really good recording setup, but I've kind of really done it on a good budget, like well under
yeah.
$1,000 easily.
Good for you, man. That's wicked. I know my buddy Eric. He is spent a lot of money, right? But like, and I have another buddy who, well, Eric is, you know, what was it, 3 grand to record 3 songs or 4 songs or whatever it was, right? And I have another buddy who I met here in the oil patch. He's actually from back home, and same thing, you know, like he only works here so he can save money to record songs. I think he went out to Miami. I think it was Miami. I
Oh,
want to say Miami. And so he works here, got the money for the songs, come back, make more money, go record more, come back, make more money. I don't know what he's up to, but he makes. Okay, I had a hard time with this the other night. Sex trap music.
hmm. I can't say I've heard of that.
I I don't know.
That's new to
Maybe
me.
that's yeah. It's a genre and it's interesting and you know kind of like I expect with you, kind of like you know as with me with other creators, I may not like get or understand their videos or their content creation, but I respect the hell out of the grind, right?
Big time,
I
absolutely.
yeah, I know what they're going through and I know what they're doing and I see them, you know, posting their videos out. I may not like it, but I understand it. You know, I'm
It's a
like,
lot of
okay,
work to do.
it is, man. It is. And especially, you know, I probably don't know. I make content, you make music that you have to constantly memorize. And guitar positions. Is it a position? Is
Yeah,
that
just yeah,
a
different spots on the
yeah.
guitar and everything. Different
Yeah.
like it can get pretty complicated once you kind of start talking about the theory and everything. Because like weird part is like I kind of just like break the guitar into like different patterns and groups. So then I kind of just like it's kind of my weird how I kind of think about it. It's like I know like there's a pattern group in here, this section of the guitar, there's a pattern group on the neck here and a pattern group on here. And depending on what song I'm playing or the key, my brain will just be like and it just it's really weird and hard to explain that one. Just how
All
my
right.
brain sort of memorizes stuff and memorizes different scales and different songs and everything. It just sort of it puts it into these weird patterns and that's how I sort of remember stuff. Especially if you're doing songs like say like ACDC songs. You kind of need to have those kind of patterns and weird kind of things because those songs all sound kind of different, but they all use like the same chords. So sometimes it can get confusing because this chords can be almost the exact same. It's just how you play it, or one chord is just a little bit different. It's like you need ways to like remember that kind of stuff.
Man,
Because
I
I
could
started
barely
off
remember
learning
how
a
to
lot of
tie my
ACDC.
shoes.
What's that?
I could barely remember how to tie my shoes half the time.
It's insane. And even like if you even factor away like say like the guitar playing too, there's a whole sound aspect of it too. Because then you got the amp and then you get all the guitar pedals. And then once you start adding those in, that's when that's when things get really crazy because now you got the guitar and you can play that, but it's got to sound good.
Yeah.
And I've been spending the last 10 plus years trying to get the right guitar sound.
Are you there?
Close. Every time I pick
So
up the guitar, it's a little bit different, but it's getting there. So close.
so like you're just looking for that sound that makes you go, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
it's
And you'll know when you hit it because it's like, right?
and sometimes too, like it varies on which guitar I'm playing. So I might pick up like because I use like got so many different kind of pedals going on, like graphic EQs and everything. I'll pick up one guitar and it's like, I got to adjust this a little bit. Okay, that sounds better. I grab a different guitar, play a chord, and I'm like, whoa, I like that.
Hold on one second. I gotta put my phone on do not disturb mode because I have a feeling I'm gonna get a call here in a minute.
All good.
And there we go. And I do not want that. That's happened a couple times now where I've been in the middle of a podcast, boom, it's dispatch or my boss or someone being like, hey, what's up? Let's go to work. And it's like, hey, not right now.
It's Murphy's Law. It's always bound to happen.
Oh man, if I want dispatch to call, I just relax. There's times where I'm sitting in my room, I'm like, okay, dispatch is gonna call, and I'm just like on edge waiting for it to happen, and they never call. And so I find that if I lay down on my bed in camp, put on the TV, they're calling, and it happens every single time. I wanted them to call. I lay down, turn on the TV, boom, happens.
That's just that's the worst. As soon as you're just this comfy and relaxed, it's like, oh, and I got to get up and go do stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So most people, right? Most kids growing up, right? Like they wanted like a light bright or a globe or like Legos or whatnot. And their parents like, hell yeah, this is cheap. Let's do this, right? You wanted guitars.
It was like a kind of once I niched with that, that was sort of my thing. And then it wasn't until because I started, it was 9 going on 10 when I got my first one. And it wasn't until I was like 14 where I got my second one. And then once I kind of got the second one, then that was where the itch kind of started. It was like, well, I want more, and then I want more, because then as you're like a preteen and coming up there and getting into like high school, and that's like going to the music store. It's like, I want all these guitars here.
Did you ever smash any while you're playing? You're just like, oh, no,
No,
no.
not yet. Maybe one day if I go to like get an El Cheapo one, that like that's like the whole point of that guitar is to get smashed up and reassembled like for certain songs and everything. I've thought about it, but even cheap guitars are like still a little bit expensive nowadays.
Yeah,
So I'd want
yeah,
something at least plays and sounds at least a little bit good because I'd actually want to use it for one song and then smash it up.
yeah.
All my
All right,
guitars are
no,
just too
that's
nice.
I was just like, I see musicians and stuff do it all the time. And it's like, man, I wish I had your money, right? Like, I know I don't know nothing about guitars, but I know that looks expensive.
Or at least the sponsorships where you could bring someone up and be like, hey, I need another couple guitars or another couple amps. Because I've seen guys like ram their guitars into their speaker cabinets. It's like, ah,
That's
why?
kind of like the end of the show kind of thing, right? They're just like, hey, thanks for coming, whack, right?
Right?
It's
Just right into it. It's like, oh, or blowing up
that's
guitar amps. It's like, ah, especially you watch like some of the old like Who videos and stuff when they're smashing up all that stuff. And it's like, you go look at the price of some of that music gear now, and it's like, that was a lot of money you guys just smashed. Because those vintage guitar gear is insanely, stupidly expensive nowadays.
well, I would think, me, I'm cheap, borderline Jewish, I think. So like, I would take like I don't know. I have a sponsorship with these glasses, right? On TikTok and stuff. I got these ones and I got these ones. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos with the blue ones I'm always wearing, right? So
Oh,
I got
yeah.
those are over there, and like, yeah, I can get a pair for free if I send a message, be like, hey man, I need a new pair, right? They send them. But like, man, I've seen the value of those glasses. Like, even if they're like 60, $70, that's still to me like like it's still $70, right? And like
Yeah.
I get upset. I broke those pair over there last summer. I broke them, and actually they didn't break that badly, but like they're pretty durable. But still, they took a beating, and I was very upset about it. I was like, because it was my first was my first pair I ever had, right? And it was like the first sponsorship. It wasn't the first one I've had, but like it was the one that, I was proud of, right? The first one I had, it didn't suit me. It wasn't who I was, you know what I mean? I don't drink coffee, so it was like whatever. But the glasses there, you know what? I took pride in that, and I still do. I love them, right? And so when they broke, I was genuinely heartbroken.
That's the thing. I was like, yeah, just stuff breaks. It's like, oh, that's why like never smashed any of the guitars or done anything kind of crazy or like flipping amps around or I've jumped off my guitar amps before. That's a fun time. Climb up on them and take a big jump off.
Can you play us a song? A random song, putting you on the spot. Putting you on the
Okay,
spot. Grab a random guitar, play us a song.
what do we got?
Oh, what kind of guitar is that? What kind of guitar is that?
We're pulling out an acoustic.
Okay. And what kind of music do you generally hear with acoustic guitars?
Nice, just some nice good chording and everything like that. I just got to tune this thing up just really quick here.
See, just the work that you're putting in there, man. Like you're just like, hey, you're putting me on the spot, but I gotta tune this baby up, right? It's gotta
Oh,
sound
it's got to
good.
sound good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you know this song.
Okay. Mama told me when I was young, right? That song?
That was one at least I just knew right on the spot and everything.
So what was that one? Because
That was Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. And
yeah,
I add a
Mama
few extra
told
notes into
me.
it. So I add some
Yeah,
extra notes into it to make it seem like sound a little more full when it's just playing one acoustic guitar.
I was right about the song.
You got it.
Nailed it. Nice. All right. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Let's see
Right.
here. Let's try. All right, let's see if you know this one.
Is that Guns N' Roses?
Yep.
Ah, come on. I'm so good. I'm not good at this, but like you're going easy on me. You're going easy.
Okay,
So
let's see if you get this one. It's in a different tuning, but you should recognize the rhythm.
okay. Oh yeah. Scotty doesn't know
Yeah, you
nothing
got it.
about me. Yeah,
Even in a
yeah,
different tuning, you can still recognize like what song that really is.
yeah, yeah. So there, I heard, and I've seen it. How like sampling songs and stuff like that. There's a lot of, there's you could basically take every popular song from like the last 30 years and narrow it down to like three, maybe three riffs or sounds.
They are just a few different chords put together, and then you can make like all sorts of. I think they're. I know which video you're talking about. I've seen that one before, and I think the chords are like like a G, C. You could just kind of recognize like a lot of those chords just go together. Something like that. But those are like I think those are the chords. But yeah, something kind of neat like that.
How much did this guitar cost you? This one?
I got this one on sale, but it still cost me like $800.
So okay, that's not bad. It could be worse, right? You don't do drugs, obviously.
What's that?
You don't do drugs or drink, I take it.
I smoke some weed, but that's about it.
That's not really a drug. So
Not
like
anymore.
no, so like you that's your habit. That's your addiction, right? Like yeah.
Exactly.
That's your thing. And if this is going to be a full-time job someday, right? This is an investment.
Well, it's like even like this guitar. Like I spent 6 months looking for the right one because it had to be a nice. It had to have a neck that felt like an electric guitar, so I can still do all the fast, all the craziness. All that, but it's hard to really show this, but this body is really small. Like if you were to kind of like see that, like me, it's really hard to show, but yeah, it's a really tiny body actually, because most acoustics are a lot bigger. So when I sit and play this, it almost feels like an electric, but it's an acoustic.
All
And
right.
I love that feeling. And it looks really cool.
That is pretty cool, man. No, that's awesome. I love that. So how often do you play with this one?
This is the first time I picked this up in a while. You put me on the spot and I looked over. I'm like, the acoustic would be a really nice one to bust out. And plus, it
So
resonates nice and loud too.
you said it took you a while to find it, right? So
Mhm.
like what do? You just walk into guitar stores or shops or whatever, like Long and McQuaid, and you walk in and you're like, hey, you pick up a guitar and you get the feel and you're like, no, that's not it, right? And you put it back, you grab another one, and you do this for months at a time, right? You're just like, how long? How many months? You said months. Like, what are we talking time
Like
frame here?
6, 7 months, like going through different guitar magazines and being like, that one looks good, and that one looks all right, and then going to, I would have went to in Saskatoon, it would have been Mother's Music when that was still there, and because they had a wicked guitar selection, and I'd go in and check out acoustics, and nope, or sometimes I'd find one and it'd be like, okay, I like the feel of this, the look of it, but it wouldn't have like this one you can hook up to an amplifier or a PA system. It's got the built-in tuner. Some of them didn't
Okay.
have that, so I just kept waiting and waiting. And then one day it was a January because I was writing a final in high school in the afternoon. I went up in the morning to buy this guitar. So because I knew it was on sale because it was a year-end clearance. And that's when they like to mark some of that stuff down, like $300-400. So this guitar was like $1,200 regular, and I think I got it for $799. And I was like, "Yep,
Wow.
done deal." And it's my only acoustic because I only ever needed one.
Wow.
And it's a wow factor piece too, because you pull this out and everyone's like, "Oh wow."
So why is it wow? Why is it wow? Like what
Well,
makes it wow?
if you look at
Yep.
that wood grain, like in person, you can feel it. It's very textured and everything. And it's just most people they either have like a black acoustic or the traditional kind of natural looking one, and you pull this out and everyone's like, oh wow, I bet you that plays nice. And the guitar players who pick it up, they're like, that is the nicest acoustic I have ever played.
That's
I got a
that's
few other
cool,
cool
man.
ones. Hang on, I'll show you a really
Yeah,
cool
let's
little
see
guy.
another one. Yeah, let's see another one.
Ugh. This is where I keep my surplus guitars are upstairs here.
Your surplus guitars. How many did you say you had again? You said you had like what?
14 of them. I got a bunch downstairs on my main floor on wall hangers. So when you walk into my dining room, you just see all these guitars that are in your face.
Are you married? You got a woman?
What's that?
Are you married or got a woman?
I am engaged. I'll be getting married this summer.
Congratulations, man. And
Thank you.
how does she feel about it? Is she like she's in love with Sengine, isn't she? She's just like
Oh yeah.
she like you serenade the shit out of her, I bet, and she just melts.
Oh, she loves the guitar playing. We have like a lot of similar music interests too, so that makes it pretty awesome when I'm playing stuff and everything. So I'll be playing her stuff and be like, "Here, you should know this song," and she's like, "Oh, I know it," but it's sometimes you'll know a song, but you get put on the spot and you can't name the artist or the song.
Did you say you're getting married in September?
Yes, September long weekend.
Do you have a priest yet or something like that? Priest,
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
it
like
is.
I got got like some old priest friends because like when I went to Weyburn, I went to like a Catholic school and everything like
Yeah.
that. And then also because I'm Ukrainian, we also went to like the Ukrainian Catholic church there.
Yep.
So we still keep in contact with the priest that was there because he was just an awesome dude.
Nice. I'm getting ordained, so like if it's only $25 or whatever to get ordained. So like I'm gonna get ordained. I'm gonna marry people in my blue hard hat and my heat waves, I think.
So
And there's already been a couple people like, hell yeah, right? So if your priest friends, if any one of them happen to get sick that week or can't make it for any reason, I'm your guy.
I'm gonna hold you to that one because that
I'm
you
there.
never know what could happen. Especially if call and book and it's like, oh, you're not available. All right, I got backup plans now. See, having
Hey,
backup plans is good.
I will take time off for that.
Sweet, good to know. And hey, it's a long weekend too, and we got it at a beautiful location as well.
Where are you going?
It's a place by Fort Capel, but it's like on like the edge of like the lake and everything. So we're gonna do an outdoor ceremony. So all of our pictures and
Nice.
everything just all gonna have like the lake in the background and all that. So and it's a place that's got like rooms you could stay at and everything. So you could come and people can get blackout drunk and not have to worry about leaving. You just gotta walk to the building, go to your bedroom, and go to sleep.
Yes, sir. That's pretty awesome. So this one, what is this one?
This is it's an Ibanez guitar, but it's a micro, so it's a smaller scale guitar.
Yeah, it's smaller than the other one you actually just had. And you said that one was actually small, right?
And like this one's got the cool pink and everything.
Yeah.
Like if you were to see, I gotta try to do this. Like I can stretch my hands on this guitar neck.
Yep.
Insane. So that
Oh
would be
my
what's called from
God.
fifth fret to 12th fret.
Like,
That's a big like that'd be like so that's on a small scale. So if I grabbed a full scale, I don't even think I could do that on a full scale. You can already see how much bigger it is. I gotta
oh,
really stretch for that.
yeah. All right.
This is another really nice guitar. The signature guitar from one of the Iron Maiden guitar players.
Oh, wow. I
So
know nothing about Iron Maiden. I know they play music that I personally do not enjoy. But like I said, I respect the hell out of the grind.
they're my all-time favorite band. That one.
Oh yeah? Nice. I just
Actually
started
got their
getting into
mascot tattooed on me.
I just started getting into Volpe within the last year. So my
Ooh, nice.
coworker, yeah, I was baptized in fire though. I don't really like that kind of music, and my coworker, whenever I'm with him, he just blasts it the whole day, and it's like, ugh. And then I started getting into it, like, let's get ready to rumble, right? And
So,
then
so
right, and it's
if
like,
we go to
all right,
that song, okay. So I got a Volbeat story here because they were on tour with it was Megadeth and it was a Gigantic tour. So I looked at Buddy and I'm like, okay, as soon as they say let's get ready to rumble, we're opening up the mosh pit. So nobody was moving. And as soon as he said that, we were right in the middle of the floor. We just started pushing people. The whole floor opened up and it turned into pure chaos. We got out of there so quick, being like, what did we start? Because the mosh pit did not die down at all for the whole show. It was just
oh
as soon as they
man,
said, let's get ready to rumble, it's like, we're opening up the mosh pit right now.
that's dude, that's insane. People die in those things, don't they?
Well, depends on the mod. Like a lot of the mosh pits, say if you go to like a smaller metal club show, if you get knocked down, the whole mosh pit stops and picks you up. Make sure you're good, and then you go back to moshing.
That's
You go to those
sick.
big festivals, though, that's up in the air because you got, I think, 50, 60,000 people. You go down, that's a little risky there.
Yeah, it's like mosh at your own risk.
So if you want to mosh in a safe environment, go to a small metal show because you fall down, they're picking you back up right away.
That's cool. That's good. Anyways, I've never been to a metal show. I think the closest I've come to moshing is at the Nickelback concerts.
Hey, that could probably get a little rowdy depending on the songs.
I was right at the barrier at the front, and my wife and I, she looks around her, and everyone's kind of starting to like jump a little, and I'm like, "Hey, hold on to this barrier and do not let go," right? And she's like, "Okay, why not?" And then a couple minutes later, she let go, and some guy was like, "Ah," right, and her and I got separated a little bit, right? and it was starting to get a little rowdy. And so like I grabbed her arm to the crowd, brought her back over, like do not let go, right? And that was the only time I've been up front for that. I was on the floor and a little bit back for Kiss, Led Zeppelin. Was it Kiss, Ted Nugent, and Skid Row?
Oh, that'd be a good lineup there.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Oh,
I
I'm
saw
jealous. I'm
I got
jealous.
I got to meet Kim Mitchell a long time ago. I was maybe 10, and he had long hair back then. And so I was in Sault Ste. Marie and Ontario, and we were at the pavilion. It was a free show, whatever. And my dad's like, "Come, take a look at this." And it was Kim Mitchell's bus. My dad knocks on the door. Little short guy comes out the bus. He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "My son just wants to know if he can like check out the bus, right?" And he's like, "No." And then Kim Mitchell comes out. He's like, "Hell yeah, brother!" Right? And then
That's awesome.
he gets off the. I never got on the bus though. He gets off the bus and he's got like 4 women with him, right? Just like surrounded by women, and it's like, yeah, that's badass, right? I met Trooper at the hot dog stand after a show once. They were getting hot dogs. They were
That's
past
awesome.
their prime. They were playing a festival, right? And I was 12 or 13, and my dad was there, and they were at the hot dog stand. They signed a drumstick for me, the whole band. Yeah, it
That's
was cool.
awesome.
That was pretty cool.
But met probably like the most famous like musician I say I would probably have met would have been drummer's Vinny Appice. He played with like Black Sabbath with Dio in the early 80s on the Mob Rules album, but he was also the drummer on the iconic Dio album Holy Diver, which is like
Okay.
a huge like metal album, just if you haven't checked that one out, you might dig that one.
All right. I don't like the shit that I can't hear. They're screaming, and I'm like, I can't hear what you're saying.
That's why you'll like Dio, because Dio can sing. He is the true
Okay.
metal singer.
All right.
And
I
the guy who
saw.
created these, he made the metal horns.
Oh, did he? Like this is him? Like, yeah. Well, okay. Well, you were around for that? Were you when you were alive when this happened, or what?
No, that would have been in like late like 70s, early 80s type of thing. So I wasn't alive for that. I was born in
Okay, okay.
91, sadly. I missed
I
out on
re-
the good years.
I met fuck, who was that? Oh, Steven Tyler. I don't know how I didn't get an assault charge or something when I did it, but like, so he was at the Taste of Edmonton. He was going from Kamloops up to Fort Mac to play a show up there, and everyone's surrounding him and just bothering him while he's trying to enjoy it, but he's also goofing off a little bit, posing for things, and so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna meet this guy today, but like, I'm gonna wait till no one else is around. So I kind of like hovered a little bit. I was far enough away, and then I saw my shot. I ran up and I meant to tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, Mr. Tyler, and I grab his arm. And it was supposed to be a tap, right? And he's like turns around, he's like, wow, right? And I'm like, hey man, I'm just wondering if I can get your autograph. And he's like, no, no. And then he was with his son. I found out later it was his son, right? So I felt really bad, right? I almost died. Steven Tyler almost killed me.
Oh, Death by Steven Tyler. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it
Oh,
would be.
did he look as much like an old lady when you meet him in person as you see in
Oh
some of
yeah.
those pictures?
Oh yeah. It was the middle of summer, so I think it was July or August. Whenever the Taste of Edmonton is, and he was wearing a fur coat. Like, yeah. Yeah. He was wearing a
Oh,
fur coat. Yeah. And he had his glasses and his baller roller cap on, whatever the hell you want to call it. And his lips were like they were fake, right?
oh,
Right?
his huge mouth too, and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been crazy. He's got a crazy image, crazy persona, lifestyle, but my God, can the guy sing and can still sing
Yeah.
to this
Well,
day?
yeah. That he's 90% preservative at this point, isn't he? Like I think all those like Mick Jagger, man. Is that guy real?
Or Keith Richards?
Are those guys real? They're like
I don't
80
think so.
some they're like 80 years old.
I hold by like you see the meme about Keith Richards that every time you have a cigarette, you add another 5 minutes to his life. I think that's true because of like what those guys have been through and to still be alive. Even look
Yeah.
at like Ozzy, Ozzy Osbourne's still around. Like
I thought that guy was gonna die a couple of years ago. Like he was on the edge. right?
Yeah,
And I thought he was gonna die. I think that bat blood kind of like did something. It preserved him. He's still alive. It has magical powers.
like the amount of drugs and alcohol that guys consume to still be in functioning,
Yep.
not just be here, but functioning.
How okay functioning like yeah his body's pretty functional but like do you understand what's like
So hard to understand. But like, okay, so like when I seen Black Sabbath when they came through Saskatoon, that was many years ago. He would talk on the mic, you couldn't understand a word he said, barely anything. But then he started singing, and he was on his A game that night, and it sounded exactly like the records. And it's
that's
like
amazing.
you can sing perfect English, but then you talk on the microphone, we can't understand a goddamn word you're saying. That
That's
was an
awesome. It's
amazing
like
show, though.
it'd be like a newfie, right? You can't understand what they're saying, but boy, when they Lord Thunder and Jesus buys, you know.
Oh, you just nod and keep going with it.
Oh shit, that's awesome, man. So, what is your idea of like the perfect like? Say you get up on stage, right? Like you've made it. You're at like Madison Square Garden with your band, and you're opening. You're not opening. You're the headliner. Hell, even if you're opening, what is your ideal show? Like, what do you do? Do you break shit? Do you eat a bite a bat's head off? Like, what is rock and roll to you?
Head banging and just getting going, just losing it, trying to get the crowd going, not jumping off of amps, jumping off the drum risers and stuff like that. Just putting out energy so the crowd's kind of like, oh, you're putting out energy. We got to put out some energy. And then by the end of that set, that's that's when everyone's like, yeah, that was an awesome show. Because like some of my best shows that I've ever played is when the crowd is just as energetic as the band. Because the more energy you put out as a crowd member, the more energy the band's going to give back. Because it's like, hey, you guys are into this. Oh, we're going to get really into it. If you just stand around with your hands in your pocket, you're not going to get the most lively show out of a band.
Oh man. So how far do you take it? Like how far can you take it? Like how far are you willing to take it?
I'd do some stage diving and crowd surfing and playing guitar. That would be a fun time.
Could you would you still play the guitar as your crowd surfing?
Oh yeah, that'd be the fun part of it. That'd be the challenging part.
So you would have to yeah, because you'd have to stop, right? You'd have to stop playing the guitar, jump, make sure your guitar didn't hit anybody, and then remember where you were and or where you're at now, and then just start jamming while you're like on your back surfing, right?
Or you just kind of, or I don't even think I would stop playing. It would just be like you kind of signal to that crowd to make that motion of like, I'm coming out there. And most crowds are going to know, like, he's coming out here, we're going to catch him, and then just jump for it and see what would happen. Especially if
Okay.
you were playing like a huge show, like a Madison Square Garden type of thing.
Yeah.
That's your shot. You got to do something a little crazy like that. Bring out some energy, because then people be like, "Oh, these guys were awesome to see. They were jumping out in the crowd doing all this. We're gonna go back and see them again."
Okay. So I'm gonna be following your socials a lot, and like I got notifications set for when you post on YouTube. So
Yes.
the rest of them are gonna come up now. When you make it, you gotta give me a shout out first and foremost, because like that'd be so cool. Dick Frost, what's up? Right? That'd be sick. But like, I wanna maybe not. That sounds kind of cheesy. But when you do, start touring with your band and original music, hey, I don't care if it's original or not, your covers. But when you start making original music, I want to hear it for sure. But like,
Oh yeah.
I want to know when you're on tour. I want to be at a show. Not your first one, maybe your first one. Who knows?
But that's oh, so like speaking of like original music, I do actually have one album out currently.
Where
So
is it?
like so the stuff was on like iTunes and Spotify and everything, but the affiliate that I used to get that stuff posted on there discontinued that service. So all those songs came off of there. So I
Can you
did
put
have
them
some
back
stuff
on
on
some other
iTunes and
way?
Spotify.
Wow. Okay.
And
So
I do have
where
like
do I
physical
find it?
copies of my album as well. I'll have to mail you out one of those.
Oh man, I would love that. Like I have all kinds of music on my playlist and stuff like that I like to listen to. If I don't like it, I still play it in the background when I'm doing something else, right? And then I find myself being like, I find myself subconsciously just being like like catching tunes or whatever for like, just you getting the beat and like
Right.
where did I hear that? Okay, I was just listening to this. Okay, put it back on and find it. And then, yeah, I love that stuff, man.
And you would dig like my stuff, like, because it's instrumental rock is what it mainly is. So it's the type of music that you just put on and let it play in the background and go about doing your stuff. And it's sort of like that filler and everything. And you kind of let your imagination run wild with what you're hearing is kind of the idea. Because each song kind of like I'd have a visual of what I want represented. So there was like one song on my album that I pictured that you're driving in a convertible down like an ocean road or whatever with the wind blowing your hair back. So you were like, listen to that song, you'd hear that riff, and if you were to take that visual, you'd be like, okay, I can see what he's talking about. And I think that
So
one is on my YouTube page. It's called Sun and Shine.
I don't have any hair to blow back in the wind, but uh, well, I get it. I'll wear a wig or something. I got a wig over there for TikToks. That's exactly what it's for. So like, I'll
Awesome.
just wear that. The wig will blow away. I got two of them actually. I got this green one, which is
That's
the
killer.
ponytails and stuff. Yeah, and then I don't know where the other one went to. Where's the other one? It's around here somewhere. Anyways, yeah, it's I got them given to me. Yeah, and they've been an interesting part. I haven't used the green one ever in a video, but I have used the blonde one a couple times.
Ooh, green one. I'll think of something for you to use that for one day.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I guess a couple more questions, and before
Yep.
we let you go here, and this isn't really a question at all, but you and your soon to be wife, do you guys have any kids, or are you working on that?
Not yet.
No, are you working on it
After we're married and everything.
after you're married? Okay, cool.
It's kind of the plans and everything.
I got two little girls, and
Ooh.
I just know, like someone in your situation, man, like, what a perfect hobby to pass down to a son, or daughter, doesn't matter, but like,
Exactly.
little boys like to latch onto their father's hobbies or passions and just run with it, right? And like I said, my buddy Eric from the band April, that's where he got his from. His dad's in a couple bands. I don't know. Have you heard of Spin Dizzy or Kill Kill Kill?
Kill, kill, kill. Yes,
That's him. That's his dad.
that is crazy.
Yeah, that's his
Well,
dad, and he's in the band too. I think
but-
actually.
and it's besides even like them picking up the passion, it's just being able to jam with them too, and maybe even write some music together. Like that'd just be such a cool experience. Like especially if the first song they learn, be like, I remember like learning my first song and everything from start to finish, and how proud I was of it, which was
Yeah,
Hell's Bells, by the way.
yeah. That's the first song you learned, Hell's Bells.
From start to finish, like note for note. Like
Can you?
I'd learned like little riffs from songs here, or like faking it through songs. But as far as like from the intro riff to Angus guitar solos to the outro, I learned note for note, and that was the first one for me.
How long did that take to get down packed?
That was a few weeks when then like I was an okay guitar player, but that still took some time to like get every single note sounding exactly right. And if I messed up, it's like, oh, gotta start it over again. Now I can
Cool.
pretty much listen to stuff and just, oh, that's how you play it.
All right. So, all right. I usually like to end the podcast this way. Sometimes it just ends up in the middle, depending on the Italian goodbye, which I'm horrible at saying goodbye. So it's kind of like, But so America has the statue, yeah, they have the Statue of Liberty too, but they have the Mount Rushmore, right, with the four most prominent people in American history, right? People look up to, people inspire to be or draw inspiration from. Who's on your Mount Rushmore and why?
That'd be Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. That's huge up there. Dave Murray and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden. Those guys are stupidly high up there too. Joe Satriani, he's an instrumental rock guitar player. Amazing and huge influence for me there. Like, and then after that, that's when the list just starts getting crazy, because then I could start mentioning guys like Steve Vai, Zach Wild, who was like Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player, Black Label Society, just insane playing style that I just really love. Jeff Loomis is another guy. Marty Friedman, who was a guitar player for Megadeth, and it just keeps going and going. But if I were to like pick like my kind of my big three almost. For me, it would be like Dave Mustaine of Megadeth and the guitar players from Iron Maiden.
Nice. Okay, that's cool, man. You know, like the rock and roll, the rock and roll Mount Rushmore.
Because then those are like my personal ones. Like if we were picking like like the rock and roll Mount Rushmore just in general, it'd be a completely different list. Because then you got your guys like your Jimmy Page from your Led Zeppelin, you got your Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, and you got the guys from the Beatles, you got your Jeff Beck, you got your Eric Clapton. You can't forget about Clapton.
Who do you model your guitar style after? Yeah, after. If you could compare yourself to one legendary bassist, right? You're a bassist.
Guitarist.
Guitarist. Okay, if you can compare yourself to one legendary guitarist. Who is it?
It would be Dave Mustaine of Megadeth. I like that hard hitting, like a little aggressive style, just in the way I play my solos. It just has this certain sound where it just cuts through, and that kind of how Dave Mustaine does. Like I play through different amps and different guitars, and everyone's always just like, you just cut through always the same. It's just that's my playing style. It's just that aggressiveness, even though I'm not a aggressive person per se. Just the music that I just kind of love, and it's heavy and melodic at the same time.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, Dave was saying I even got two of his signature guitars.
Have you ever met him?
No, sadly I haven't. They are coming on tour, and there was like a VIP package, but it's not a direct meet and greet. It's kind of like you stand behind like a velvet rope basically, and you get like a group picture, and that's not the experience I really want.
Come on, man. You gotta rock and roll the shit out of that. You know what? Fuck this velvet rope. You know what I mean? Just hop on over and be like, I'm getting the meet and greet package I want.
I missed my opportunity because I was in electrical school and I was budgeting because I'm on EI at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was the fifth time I'd seen Megadeth, and I said, like, when I see him the fifth time, I'm gonna do the meet and greet. And it was a full on like meet and greet, one-on-one, blah da da. And I think it was like, I want to say it was $700. But you got a guitar with that package, plus the meet and greet, shirt, like everything. And the guitar itself was a $600 guitar.
Wow.
So you were paying like next to nothing for the meet and greet and all the extras. And I'm like, I remember waiting in line to get into the show and then seeing one of the guys come out from the meet and greet holding the guitar box. And I'm like, that should have been mine. And a big grin on his face too, because he probably got it signed and everything.
Lucky That's bugger. Awesome, man. Well, buddy, this has been fun. And, like I always say it, I'm a little nervous going into a podcast with anybody. I don't do my homework. I don't study. I like to wing it. I like to go in and just think on the fly, right? I thrive in the chaos. This was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was a little nervous, you know what I mean? Because
oh, me too.
Yeah, dude. So I've
never done anything like this.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Honestly, when you get bigger on TikTok, how many followers you got on TikTok right now?
What am I sitting at? I had a couple hundred or something like that. I think I'm around there. Sometimes I get like the followers mixed up between different social platforms. It's like, yeah. I think I'm over 200 on the Instagram, but that always kind of fluctuates and everything too.
When you get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, go live, play. So that's what you should be doing. You should be like going hard on TikTok. Go live and just start playing. Play the guitar. I bet you get thousands of people come in to watch that.
I've been thinking about that, and that's as soon as I have a little more consistent, almost like that fan base, almost a little bit, where I'm starting to see like a lot more like, 20, 30 likes of the same kind of people type of thing, if not more. And then it's like, all right, if I do a live, at least I'm going to get a few extra viewers, because you don't want to do a live sometimes and get that discouraging one or two, and it's like, oh, dang it.
Before we wrap this up, I forgot to say it way back there. Where can people find you on the socials?
So you can find me on Facebook at Sengine B, Instagram at Sengine Boychuk, Twitter at Sengine B, and TikTok at Sengine Boychuk, and YouTube at Sengine Boychuk as well. So I'm across a lot of platforms and everything.
When I post this, the video goes up on YouTube, and the podcast audio goes up other places. When I post the video, I will link your YouTube page to the video. So
Awesome.
yeah, man,
Super excited.
it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I love doing this stuff. I love chatting with people, anyone, all walks of life, anyone that does anything. It's a lot of fun, and so yeah, I'm pumped. I'm always pumped to get a Tuesdays are release days. Tuesdays are release days at 5 p.m. Mountain Time every Tuesday. The podcast
Oh,
comes out,
nice.
and I had my first bonus episode, and my second bonus episode is going to be April 1st. It's not a scheduled time, but like I wanted my buddy for Eric that's in April, the band April. I want him to be April 1st, April the band
Oh,
podcast.
that's
Boom,
wicked.
here we go. So it's gonna be that'll be a bonus episode. So there'll be 2 episodes that week, and I'm pumped. I'm just excited, man. You know what I mean? We're clipping along here. We're having a good time. So
This is awesome, and especially like I'll have to come back on for sure because once I get some stuff rolling with the new project that I got on the roll, because I'm going to want to brag it up and really spill the beans on what we're truly doing to bring some attention to it as well.
Yes.
Because the thing is, all I'm going to say is it's going to be pretty much we're playing songs that everybody's going to know. If you're like in a certain age demographic of like my age group, you're going to know every song,
Well,
which is going to be awesome.
Also, when you get more of a fan base too, right? Like when you get that steady fan base, we can bring them in for a live stream of the podcast too. We've done a couple of those, bring in for the live stream and have people come kind of have like a live show. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
We'll set it up and you can play live, right? And
especially
this is Sengine live.
I got the setup here. I'm just even looking at it to be able to do a live recording like setup like that and actually have it mixed decent too.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. This is a blast.
Absolutely, man. And hey, that intro song that you made, I'm gonna play that every single time. I can use it, right? I'll use it on future podcasts.
100% use it and use it.
I'll shout you out every single time it plays, man.
I give you full rights to use that bugger.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you betcha, man. That's
right,
as soon as you like ask for like an intro song, my brain went to I got something sitting on the computer that I know you're gonna hear and be like, oh, it's just that riff. It just has that intro sort of vibe almost.
Dude, if I could come up with a word, it'd be orgasmic. So
oh, it's awesome.
All right, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me so much, man.
And you stay frosty.
You betcha.